Have you ever noticed that the best moments in life never feel forced? The conversations that flow for hours without a pause, the creative bursts that seem to write themselves, the times when you're completely absorbed, cooking, painting, running, playing music, and it feels like time disappears. That feeling has a name in Taoism. It's called Wu Wei, often translated as effortless action. But it's not about being passive or lazy. It's about learning how to act in harmony with the flow of life instead of constantly fighting against it. 2,000 years ago, a man named Lao Tzu wrote about Wu Wei in the Tao Te Ching. He described the Tao, the Wei, as the natural rhythm of the universe. To live well, you don't try to dominate it or control it. You align yourself with it. Wu Wei is the art of doing that, of finding power in ease, of discovering that the softest approach often carries the most strength. Imagine a river. It doesn't force its way around rocks. It doesn't argue with gravity. It simply flows. And yet, over centuries, it carves valleys, shapes canyons, sustains entire civilizations. Lao Tzu compared a wise person to water, humble, adaptable, yielding, but ultimately unstoppable. That is Wu Wei, acting with the flow of things, not against them. Now, let's clear up a common misunderstanding. Wu Wei is not doing nothing. It's not sitting on the couch forever waiting for life to happen. Instead, it's the opposite of struggle. It's the clarity that comes when your actions are so well matched to the moment that they feel almost effortless. Think of an athlete in the zone, a jazz musician improvising, or a surfer catching the perfect wave. Yes, they're acting, but they're not forcing. Think about a job interview. You can walk in over-prepared, stiff, repeating memorized lines, trying to control every detail. That's forcing. People feel the tension. Or you can walk in present, calm, prepared, but flexible, letting the conversation flow naturally. That's Wu Wei. Same situation, different energy. One feels heavy, one feels alive. Lao Tzu wrote, "By non-action, everything is done." This doesn't mean you literally stop acting. It means that when you stop fighting reality, things fall into place more smoothly. Think about quicksand. The more you thrash, the deeper you sink. But if you go still and float, you rise to the surface. That's the paradox of Wu Wei. Sometimes less effort leads to greater results. There's an old Taoist story about an archer. When he shoots for fun, he never misses. But when he's shooting for a prize, a bronze buckle or a piece of gold, he becomes nervous. His aim falters. Why? Because the weight of trying too hard interferes with the natural flow. The more he forces, the worse he performs. Wu Wei teaches us that when we loosen our grip, our true ability shines. So how do we live Wu Wei in today's world? Because let's be honest, modern culture celebrates the opposite: hustle, grind, force. But Wu Wei doesn't mean abandoning ambition. It means moving with alignment. In work, stop pushing projects in directions that clearly resist. Ask, where is there energy, flow, momentum? Follow that. In relationships, stop trying to control how others act. Instead, listen deeply. Respond naturally. Harmony grows. In creativity, stop strangling ideas with perfectionism. Let them breathe. See where they want to go. Wu Wei invites us to trade control for trust. Picture bamboo in a storm. Trees around it break in the wind. The bamboo bends. It yields. And because it yields, it survives. Lao Tzu says, the soft overcomes the hard. The yielding overcomes the rigid. Wu Wei is bamboo. It doesn't resist change. It adapts, bends, and keeps growing. Modern psychology has even confirmed parts of this. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called it flow state. It's that sweet spot where your skills meet the challenge perfectly and you lose yourself in the task. Time disappears. Effort feels light. Sound familiar? That's Wu Wei through a scientific lens. Think back to a time in your life when you tried to force something, a relationship, a career move, a project. How did it feel? Heavy, draining, resistant. Now, think of a time when things just clicked. The right people showed up. Opportunities unfolded. Work felt almost playful. That's the taste of Wu Wei. Here are a few ways to practice it. Notice resistance. When everything feels like pushing a boulder uphill, pause. Ask yourself, am I forcing? Is there another way? Trust timing. Sometimes the answer isn't try harder, it's wait. Life has its own rhythm. Take small, steady steps. Wu Wei doesn't mean inaction. It means natural, steady action without strain. Listen more. Whether in conversation, work, or life, listening often reveals the path of least resistance. Be like water. Adapt flow around obstacles. Keep moving, gently but persistently. There's another Taoist story about a farmer. One day, his horse ran away. His neighbors said, "Such bad luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe." The next day, the horse returned with 2 wild horses. The neighbors said, "Such good luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe." The day after, the farmer's son broke his leg trying to ride one of the wild horses. Again, such bad luck. The farmer said, "Maybe." The story continues. Fortune turning to misfortune, misfortune turning to fortune. The lesson: don't force judgment. Don't cling. Let things flow. That's Wu Wei. Wu Wei isn't about giving up. It's about surrendering to reality, not as defeat, but as wisdom. It's saying, I don't need to control everything to move forward. When you trust the current, you don't stop swimming. You stop fighting the river and you let it carry you. Lao Tzu whispers across the centuries, those who flow as life flows know they need no other force. Wu Wei isn't an escape, it's a return to the natural rhythm of life, a return to that state of ease, clarity, and harmony you felt before, and can feel again. So, the next time you catch yourself struggling, grinding, forcing, Pause. Take a breath. Remember the river, the bamboos, the archer, the farmer, and ask yourself, what would it feel like to let go? What would it feel like to flow? That is Wu Wei.